July 13th, 2024, 6:11 p.m., Butler, Pennsylvania. Donald J. Trump, the 45th president of the United States, was shot in an assassination attempt at one of his campaigns. Now, this happened yesterday, so it's been circulating for a while now, and thankfully, he's gonna be okay. But with something this big happening, it doesn't go without news coverage or media coverage. And along with that coverage, a lot of pictures get posted about the event. And in the midst of this whole thing, instead of talking about all the politics about it, I wanna focus on one picture. Chances are, if you're like me, you saw this thing circulating on Twitter within an hour after it all happened, maybe even sooner. Evan Vuki, a photographer for the AP News, took this picture as they were rushing Donald Trump off the stage, and people are loving it. They're calling it the most iconic picture in American history, the picture of the century, Pulitzer Prize winning. And you don't get those kinds of remarks unless there's something behind it. So in the midst of this big tragedy and this crazy week, I want to focus on that today and really break down what makes this picture so special and what we can learn as artists to apply to our craft even in the face of danger. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to focus on is just the meaning behind this picture. I mean, look at it. You got Trump with his fist in the air, the Secret Service gathering around him. You got the flag flying in the background. If this doesn't scream American to you, I don't know what does, because this is an amazing picture. Now, the first thing I want to focus on in this picture is just the story behind it. You got Trump standing up, his fist in the air, shouting fight. You got blood on his face from where the bullet hit him. You got the Secret Service gathering around him, trying to get him off the stage. You got the American flag flying in the background. It's an amazing picture. It's got all the elements to make it award-winning. And what makes it really amazing is that the further you dig deep into this, the more powerful it becomes. You know the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words? This is the perfect example of that. Let's just look. So if you saw the original footage, you know that he was on the ground and the Secret Service was trying to rush him off the stage, but he stopped them so that he could stand up, pump his fist, and yell, fight. He's telling people that he's not giving up, that he's here for Americans. So this perfectly represents that. He's rising above the protection of the Secret Service, back into the face of danger, just to tell them that he's still gonna fight. And then even the way the American flag is facing, usually we see the American flag with the stripes are horizontal, but here it's pointing down. Looking at it, it could look like it's saying something like America had a low moment, but now we're seeing a way to get out of it. The scars on his face from the bullet, they look like scratch marks from like a lion or something, or maybe from a monster. You know, that represents that he took on the monster and he still came out of it. The fact that he's still holding on to his Make America Great Again hat right down here in the corner, but his fist is up here. From the two divides, from the lowest part to the highest part, he's trying to represent America in every way. We could even say the hat represents politics, and the fist in the air represents the true American spirit. So he's got politics beneath him, and he's just trying to rise up to be a true American. There's so much detail in this one image, and the more you read it, the more powerful it becomes. So that's just the story behind it. But now I want to talk about some more technical things about it. What makes it just look good? Because first moment you see it, you say, wow, that is amazing. It's not just because of Trump or because it was such a terrible moment or anything like that. No, there's actual technical stuff. There's rules of photography, rules of composition that went in this picture, and I want to talk about that right now. Okay, let's turn on our grid here. So the first thing I want to talk about is composition. Immediately you can tell that Trump's face is like smack dab in the center of the photo. That's really good for adding the center weight, especially telling people where to focus their eyes. Next thing I want to talk about is the way the Secret Service heads are lined up. Almost all of them have their faces lined up almost perfectly on the rule of thirds grids. Hers a little bit too high, but again, it's an action photo. You're not expecting perfection. But look at, we got this guy right here. He's lined up perfectly on this line right here. His is a little bit higher, but he's still right there in the rule of thirds shot. They're not taking away attention from Trump. So that's the first thing I really want to pay attention to. Next thing is the way that it's weighted out. You got a lot of weight going on in this bottom part right here. So in order to really add that counterweight, you have the American flag flying up here, almost the same size as both of them. So it adds weight right here, and then you got weight up here in the opposite sides of the picture. So that really separates the weight of the picture and adds some balance to it. Next up, I want to talk about Trump himself. So the fact that he has his fist in the air right here, again, it's lined up almost perfectly with this rule of thirds line up here, but also the fact that there's nothing else distracting from it. Yeah, we got this crane in the back, but it's not really taking away from the picture. It's just more of a background. If I would argue if his hand were over here where the American flag was at, it probably wouldn't have as much of a weight to it. But here we have the American flag over here. We have his hand over here, again, adding a balance up here, but also you got a balance from his hand being up here to another Secret Service agent's arm being down here. Again, it has that really nice counterweight. So if you look anywhere throughout this image, you'll find a really good balance in almost every aspect of it. Just the fact that Trump's face takes up the center of the frame and nobody else is getting in his way. In fact, he's the only person looking up in this picture. All the Secret Service agents are looking down. So that adds this, again, really cool balance in the picture. So he's the only person rising up, which really isolates him in the picture, which is what you want. And of course, I'm guessing that Evan Vuki, when he was looking through his camera, he's had the grid on his camera, and this dude's been a photographer for like decades. So it's second nature to him. So I'm sure when he was looking, he knew how to line that up. And then, you know, the people just got into place. Again, this is a historical image, so things aren't supposed to be exactly perfect, but the fact that you can get an image this good, it's perfect. It's such a perfect image. Next up, let's talk about negative space. I'm gonna separate this image into 4 main parts to really show what I'm talking about. Okay, so I've separated this image into 4 main sections. We've got Trump right here. We've got the Secret Service going on right here, the American flag up here in the background, and then we have the actual background, the sky, up here. So the main thing I really want to emphasize is that nothing is taken away from anything else. There's nothing else in the background that's trying to compete with anything else. The blue sky is just blue sky. The American flag is on its own over here on the top right. You can tell right away who's Trump and who's the Secret Service. There's no mix up in there. And then lastly, you got Trump, his silhouette with his hand raised. The weight to it, the negative space on it is very, very important. Nothing's overlapping, nothing's distracting from anything else. It's a beautiful picture, beautifully well done. So what can we learn from this? Because you're probably thinking, yes, Devon, this is a beautiful picture. It has a great meaning behind it, but I don't plan on being anywhere where there could be an assassination attempt. And you know what? I hope you're not, because I don't want you to be in that kind of danger. But we can learn a lot from this, because the main thing that really goes with this is speed. You have to be fast. You can't sit there and set up. You have to learn how to get fast. The only way you can really get fast is by practicing a lot. And I mean a lot. Like I said, Evan's been doing this for the past 20 something years now. He's an awesome guy. I'm talking about him like I've met him. I've never met him before, but Evan, if you somehow are watching this, I love this picture and I would love to talk with you, you know, take some tips from you. And I'm sure you can agree with me. It's all about the speed behind this and also having the eye. But number one is speed. Just understanding your camera settings, getting it all down to be second nature. And the only way that you can really, really get it nailed down perfectly is by just practicing a lot, going to different events and snapping pictures, trying to make them all look perfect. But it's about developing your skills and just really knowing how to handle your camera the right way. My light turned off back there, so I'm gonna have here to still have the blue tint, but it's gonna be a little bit more on my face. Okay, number 2 is learning how to develop your eye. Again, it's a lot of the same techniques of trying to develop your speed. But I'd say really just try to find stuff that a lot of people wouldn't be looking for. Like for instance, in this situation, you would not be trying to find the beauty in it. You wouldn't be trying to find the significance behind it. This guy did. A lot of the other photographers did exactly that. And it's just trying to find the story behind something. Understanding how objects interact with each other, the placement of the subjects, how it all works together. That's how you develop your eye. And again, it's just practicing like that. Something I would say is if you're in a room full of stuff, maybe try to create a story for all the stuff just in your head and then start taking the pictures. Have a central focus, have something in the foreground, have something in the background, and just really try to make a story with your picture. Again, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and you want your picture to be a dictionary. Finally, number 3 is saying goodbye to fear. If you're gonna be a photographer, videographer, anything like that, fear just has to go out the window. It cannot be part of you. I mean, this was a scary situation. He still got this awesome picture because this dude's not scared to get in there. Learning to overcome that and learning to just get in there and get the shot. So you have to really say goodbye to your fear. Again, the only way you can really get that is practice, repetition, really putting yourself in situations where you have to face your fears. Because remember, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Okay, so I just wanted to come up here. This is a very historic moment in American history, so I really just wanted to share my thoughts on it. I don't know much about the politics of it, but I do know about art. And when I saw this picture, I was like, I have to dissect this. I have to really get into what makes it such a great picture. And like I said, there's more than just the story behind it, but just the story itself is wow. Like, that is a crazy story. You're gonna be able to tell your grandchildren that you were alive when they tried to assassinate Donald Trump and he came out swinging. That is a crazy story. I feel very patriotic right now, but again, bringing it all back together. Just wanted to focus on that, talk about that, and yeah, just get out there, start taking pictures, start taking videos. Try to really hone your craft, because who knows, maybe you could be the next person to photograph a Pulitzer winning photo. I really think this one is that. Listen, if you're saying, I don't really even know how to use a camera, listen, I got a video that I made for you. It's over here. Click on it. It's like 16 minutes long. It'll totally take you from beginner to more than a beginner. That's all I can promise. But let's say you know all that and you just want to keep on having fun, then you two things that you're gonna like this video right here. And if you just want to stay along for the ride, see how everything else is going, then click on my face right here. And if you're a business owner wanting to take your business to the next level, then check out powercrownstudios.com. Got great stuff for you there. But that's it for me today. Hope you have an awesome time, a great day. And I just like to say this, as a country, we need to stay united in the midst of all this, because there's something crazy going on here. And the last thing we need is division. United we stand, divided we fall. And right now we need to be united under God. All right, have a great day. Beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. Estevan out.